happy to be here.
Yes, yes. Yay, this was fun. And Ellie brought a specific treat. For the banana bread is for yummy. The sugar is for energy. Okay. And this is a healthy excuse. Okay. I'm very thoughtful. Ellie and I went right to this. Yeah. Oh, Lakewood. There we are. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Let me get this other person in. Oh, there's Michelle. There we go. All right. We get everybody in here. All right. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. We're gonna have to do a back and forth thing where I mute and unmute when everyone is talking. I guess that's gonna have to be the way it is. Yep. So, agenda. I'm gonna call the meeting to order.
Are you okay if I adjust this to
down? You do you.
We just want to be able to see y'all. There we are.
Perfect.
Very
So
good.
All right.
Welcome back. Wish you were in person, you guys. You have to come back the next time because we have treats this morning. Okay, let's get the ball on the roll here. Welcome everybody again. I don't think we have any public comments. If so, raise your hand. Public comments. Let's go on to the meeting minutes. Assuming everybody has read their minutes from March.
I move that the minutes be approved as presented.
May I have a second? Any questions, comments? I have approval of the minutes from March. Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to new business. We have a guest, Sharana, from Habitat for Humanity here this morning, and she's going to speak to us about a new project that will take place in Tacoma. So, we're able to hear everything that's going to be happening because this is a exciting piece of news for all of us.
Thank you, Ellie. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharana Kildun. Can you hear me okay? Everybody in the conference room too? Okay. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I appreciate the flexibility of having virtual. It's my kids' spring break this week, and as a single mom, it's kind of hard to get them to their 9 o'clock things and have a 7:30 meeting, so thank you for flexibility. Yeah, Shannon? Oh.
So, all right, Sharana, let's see if we can't hear you now.
Oh, okay.
So you can unmute us there, but turn the volume up. Oh, that's fine.
Should I just start talking? Can you hear me?
Yes, on the sound. Okay, yeah. So, all right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you can unmute us there, but turn the volume up. Oh, that's fine.
All right. Should I just start talking? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh. Is that delayed a little bit, maybe?
Oh, all right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Good. So you can unmute us there, but turn the volume up. Oh, that's fine.
All right. Should I just start talking? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that delayed a little bit?
Oh, all right. So you can unmute us there, but turn the volume up. Oh.
All right. Okay, should I try now? Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Okay, now everybody can hear. Hi. Good morning. Thanks for having me. And so I'm here today to talk about Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity. And actually to kick us off before I get into what the project is and kind of what we're doing and talk about the great leadership of Andy Gernon and Ellie Wilson. If it works, we'll see if technology works. I did share a video with Shannon about one of our homeowners. So I thought we would kick it off of what the heart and soul of Habitat for Humanity is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing in Tacoma, Lakewood community. So Shanna, if you can play video 1. Or I don't know if I can become host and share my screen.
Shannon, I made her co-host so she could share her screen if you just want to let Sharana do that.
Want to try that? Okay, let me see if I can share my screen. Here we go. Can you guys see that? All right. Let me just, actually, let me do this again and make sure that I got audio. Share sound one more time. All right, here we go. So me and Sierra.
If you're a Washington homeowner,
An ad,
2022 is your last chance to go solar. In December of 2020.
Here we go. Meet Sierra.
That's Lily's house.
Yeah, your house.
Say garage.
Right.
Things are gonna be so great. So these are from a team of people who helped you and mommy.
Mommy.
Yeah, see, congrats on the home. Look it, it's Mima. Look at Mima.
Look at you. I like your house. I like it.
Say, Mima, look at my house.
As you see, I got a tear in my eye because, you know, this is a dream that most people who, you know, they can't realize it for themselves. And here it is, my daughter Sierra, she gets to experience all that.
Every time I come out here, I'm just bawling, and I'm trying to be well composed now, but like sometimes I just get overwhelmed, and the staff will cry with me too. Like they remind us that so much love goes into building these homes for us to make it safe and affordable and stable and secure. And how awesome is that? You know, like she gets to grow up here and go to one elementary school, one middle school, and one high school, and just have stability. And I never had that. I just did not think it would be a reality to own a home. I'm like, okay, my credit's not there yet. I definitely have debt. Like, how is this going to work? So I attended my first financial appointment, and Kareen had spoken to us about independence and what that means. Not just being independent, like living on your own in your own home, but like being financially independent. Things I was never taught. I had established a game plan with him in terms of like how to really either consolidate my debt or to completely eliminate it. And I knew that I either had to really push myself or this would not be a reality. And I always kept Lillian at the forefront, her running in that yard and what our future could look like. So I did. For a year straight, I was consistent with my appointments, so that way I could gain financial freedom.
Yeah. You get to play outside.
Lily, mommy built this house for our neighbors. How cool is that? Yeah. Yes. Say cheese. I think it's really important to never forget where you came from, but that doesn't mean that that's your forever. When we don't have these luxuries growing up, and we grow up in poverty, and we grow up in a very unstable environment, you know, naturally we think that we can't achieve stability and we can't achieve these great things, the American dream. To myself now, I can say that that's false. Having affordable housing is just huge because they made our dreams come true, and I appreciate it.
So thank you for letting me share that with you. I just thought we would center sort of what Habitat's about. And Sierra and her daughter are finishing up their house over the next couple months, and they should be moving in. I think they're planning to have a close date in either July or August of the summer. So very excited in our Fern Hill neighborhood and development. So like Shannon said, I'm Sharana. I work at Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity. I'm the Chief Philanthropy Officer. So I've been with Tacoma Habitat. Actually, it's been now about 3 years, I think, is when I joined, which is crazy how time flies. And it was in the middle, right before a pandemic too. So it's kind of neat. But Habitat for Humanity has been around in Tacoma Pierce County since 1985. And our mission, we're a faith-based organization, but we do not proselytize. Our mission is cooperation of people from all walks of life. We partner with families in need to build and own simple, decent, affordable housing. And I wanted to just bring this to the forefront and the attention. Many of you probably know this already, but we are in an affordable housing shortage and crisis, especially here in Pierce County. Habitat International did a study a couple years ago, not that long ago, but 1 in 7 Washington households are paying more than 50% of their income on housing, which is leaving very little for groceries, medical bills, and other things. The average rent in Lakewood, I just was on yesterday, Rent Cafe is about $1,500 for an 800 square foot apartment. It's pretty crazy. And the median sale pricing in actually Lakewood, sorry, I had a Gig Harbor presentation, but this is Lakewood's number, is $495,000, which is a little bit less than the county average, which is now, I think, over $510,000 to buy a new home. And so with our Habitat homeowners, the price that they can afford versus what the market is right now is just creating more and more of a gap to getting first-time moderate, low to moderate income homeowners into the opportunity of homeownership. So what does Habitat do? We do 3 main things. We do new construction, so we build between 10 and 12 homes per year. We also renovate existing housing stock, mostly derelict homes, and then sell them to affordable homeowners. And we also launched a repair program in 2020 for our aging population. We call it our Aging in Place program, where we go out and actually we're kind of specialized in ramps and roofs right now, but we also do other things. But it's for seniors who are over the age of 65. Who need support with your home being your largest asset that you have and wanting to age in place. This has become more and more of a need in our community. And there are a couple of other organizations that do this as well, but we kept getting called over and over and over again. And so with all of us working at full capacity, there's still more need in the community than what any of us can do. So that's what we do. So who do we serve? We serve families like Sierra. So income levels between 30 and 80% of the area median income. So what does that mean? So a family of 4, that would be a minimum of $35,000 a year to about $73,000 a year for a household. We don't try to do this, but 75% of our homeowners over the last 3 years have been single moms, actually. So they have a pretty decent job themselves, but it's hard to get into a stable housing with one income. Our homeowners must also demonstrate an ability to pay a monthly mortgage. And so our monthly mortgages are about $1,100 to $1,250 for a monthly mortgage, which knowing the rent number is a couple $100 less than rental market is right now. Our homeowners need to be willing to partner with us. And so that is, you've probably heard, or if you're familiar with Habitat, we have a sweat equity model. And so for new construction, every homeowner commits to providing at least 200 hours of sweat equity, meaning they're on the job site helping to build their home or the home of their neighbors. They also attend homeowner education classes, and they work one-on-one with our financial coaches, our housing counselors. We're also looking at people's existing living conditions in the program and making sure that, and so what are they, are there health concerns? Is it an unsafe living situation? Is there overcrowding? And more people who are coming to the Habitat door recently are because they're just getting priced out and continually having to move because they can no longer afford the rent that they're currently in. So where are we building? Right now, Sierra's neighborhood is this Fern Hill neighborhood in Tacoma. It's a 4-home development. We actually just had our first, oh my gosh, since the pandemic, in-person home dedication for her neighbor's house, a family of 8. I think they have 6 kids and 2 adults. 2 of those 6 are brand new newborn baby twins. So they have their hands full. We'll be moving into the first home there at Fern Hill, and then Sierra will be moving into that neighborhood, like I said, this summer. We've also broken ground in an 8 townhome development in South Tacoma near the Star Center called Madison. And following that, we'll be in Gig Harbor for a 3-home development, but we call Canterwood. It's not in Canterwood, but it's down the street in the Gig Harbor community off of Canterwood Road. But we also are developing 12 townhomes in Tacoma. And so that's why I'm here to talk to you today. Actually, in Habitat's history over the last, I think since 2008, we've built over 30 homes in the Tacoma neighborhood, which is pretty amazing. And we just love Tacoma, and we love working with the city of Lakewood. They are such an amazing partner. And so that's why I'm here to talk to you today. A couple months ago, I called Andy, who I think was on this call, and I started talking to her about, we're going to be building in Tacoma, and we have these different giving opportunities to help subsidize what it cost us to build versus what homeowners can bring to the table. Do you have ideas of people or groups that might be interested in sponsoring a house? And so she got her wheels turning, and I think started calling some of you guys, and Ellie and her got together. And so this is what the development is. It's at Tacoma, we're calling it the American Townhomes development. It has been known as Boat Street before too, because it's technically on Boat Road in Tacoma off of Wadsworth. So Habitat owns these parcels in blue right here at the end of 88th Avenue, Court Southwest. And we're going to be putting in 12 townhomes. There's actually one more parcel that we're hoping to get, which would mean that would be a standalone single family home, so 13 homes, but we're still negotiating that. But all here to the right, this is what the rendering of the townhomes is going to look like. So it will have a single garage. It will likely be 3 or 4 bedrooms, with at least one of the bedrooms on the ground floor with the kitchen and the living room, with 2 to 3 more bedrooms upstairs with a bathroom. So 2 bathrooms, 3 to 4 bedrooms, and a single car garage. We build modest homes. They're not custom built, but homeowners do get a chance to kind of pick out the color of the countertops and some of the paint colors inside and outside. So they do get some choices in their homes. But talking to Andy and Ellie, we thought that the community could potentially come together, and getting the blessing of Lisa to honor and build a home in honor of Dr. Claudia Thomas, a legacy house for her. And I just think that's amazing and beautiful. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Claudia, unfortunately, but have heard many amazing stories. And actually her daughter, Lisa Boyd, was my kid's principal for a couple of years here in Tacoma Elementary at Point Defiance Elementary. So I have had the pleasure of meeting Lisa Boyd. But here today to talk to you about how Lakewood's Promise might be interested in partnering with us to share the story and help raise, it's $100,000 giving level to sponsor a home, which, like I said, is the gap between what it costs us to build, what the homeowner brings to the table, what the city is helping us subsidize with down payment assistance, and then the house sponsorship makes up the difference to get that family into a home. So our estimated building timeline will be, and these are subject potentially change. Right now, we're going back and forth with planning around some sewer plans with Boat Street, which potentially could delay us. And then we need to go into permitting. So just flexibility with construction schedules. Hope everybody can kind of understand that. But the tentative schedule is our hopeful schedule, is that we would really start the site development work in the fall, road and sewer and all that infrastructure work this fall, with foundations for the first couple townhomes poured in January, with hopefully a wall raising in March, and then a home dedication in the summer of 2023. And there's 12 homes, so this could also be other homes throughout the neighborhood as well. So this is sort of the first 4 would be on this schedule. And then typically we do sort of a home sale every month once the first home sale happens, kind of scheduled one after the other. And so what does that look like? There's Sierra at her wall raising with her house sponsor. Her house was sponsored by a beer group, actually. We call it the house that beer built, which is pretty fun. And so I actually have one more video to show you all before we get into questions that just talks through the building process. One more time with the sound. Okay. Here we go. So this is in the house that beer built. This is from our Tyler Court neighborhood, which we completed right before we started Fern Hill. So this is what it looks like. That's Nick Jackson, our site development manager. So that's what the house sponsorship experience is volunteers get to come out and get priority volunteering over about 6 to 7 months of building the home, either for the wall raising, the home dedication, get to meet family, build one-on-one with them throughout the whole process. So this is Habitat, this is the project. Ellie or Andy, do you guys want to speak up and say anything?
Giving us this information.
I think, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us? Okay, thank you, Sharon, for what you have done and provided for us in the way of information. Still having a problem hearing?
We can barely hear you.
Okay.
Microphone's on the big screen, so if you were to move forward, we might be able to hear you a bit better, but the microphone is actually on that big screen, so you're gonna have to use your big voice.
Or I can just stand up. Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you with us this morning, Sharana. I am so excited about this project, and I'm hoping that we in the board here will have that same kind of excitement. Do you, any of you have any questions for Sharana?
I actually do have a question. The families that are going to be moving into the Telecom development, are those Telecom families or Lakewood families, or are they coming from kind of various places in Pierce County?
So they have to be Pierce County residents, but we do try to do outreach within our local developments of where we're building. So we will do concerted outreach efforts in Telecom and Lakewood. However, we are a fair housing organization, and so it is, you know, how people come in through the application process. But with some of our criteria is that they have to have lived in Pierce County. So there will definitely be Pierce County residents. We'll be doing outreach to Telecom and Lakewood, but I can't promise you that they're from Telecom and Lakewood specifically. Yeah, but they will become Telecom residents.
Any other questions for Sharana? Mary?
Yeah, I have two quick questions. One is amazing. I just think Habitat's done such a great job in Telecom. We're so thankful for that partnership with the city. How would groups, I know lots of different groups have come out and done like service projects, you know, teams of folks, and how would someone participate, get in touch with you to bring their team out and do a volunteer day to help with building? And then number two, when I was at one of your events, there was a statistic I thought was so amazing, was that not the turnover, but your residents that live there, the percentage of folks that stay in the house, you know, they don't lose the house, or could someone sell the house with this market? How does that all work?
Yeah, great questions. So getting to the statistic first, and then I'll answer the other question. Yeah, about 89 to 90% of our 300 households that we've sold to over the last 35 years have stayed in their homes, and this has been their forever home. We have had recently more of an uptick of people who purchased their homes years ago who are getting ready to sell, but typically it's not because of the hot market, because even if they sell their house and they're getting equity out of it, where are you going to go? But a lot of times it has to do with families have grown, and so they need, or they're moving out of town. And so we have had some more people in the last 2 years move than before. This particular neighborhood, which I neglected to share, and I apologize, will actually be sold in our new model. So with the rising costs of everything, the subsidy between what it costs to build and what the homeowner can bring to the table is continuing to rise. And with land becoming harder to find, and also rehab houses harder to acquire because of the skyrocketing prices, Habitat's board over the last year has made the decision to move to what we call a resale restricted model. It's like a community land trust. So Habitat will retain the rights and ownership of the land. The homeowner buys just the house, and we sell the house for what the homeowner can afford. And they then agree that they will resell it to another income qualified buyer. So these houses in Telecom, in this Boat Street American Townhome development, will be permanently affordable for first-time home buyers in perpetuity. The homeowners that are buying the houses today will still walk away with equity, but like I said, they will then sell it to another income qualified buyer. It's just not the same as the market equity. Yeah, and then your first question, can you remind me again what you had?
If teams wanted to come out and do a build day and work on one of the projects, how would they do that, and what's the timeframe?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to do that. One of the ways to do that is through this house sponsorship opportunity. There's going to be different giving levels that could guarantee a team build day, which is typically like a 9 to 3. We would work with a schedule. It could be a Friday or a Saturday, and we kind of get you on the calendar. Another way outside of the house sponsorship is we have what's called Team Habitat. And so I think the Team Habitat on a Thursday, Friday is like $1,500, or Saturday is $2. But there's also other ways that people can participate at kind of a smaller financial level as well to get teams out. But we love having teams out onto the construction site. We do kind of have it's a blessing. We have more volunteers who want to get out there than we have available to do meaningful work. So we do have to prioritize those groups like house sponsorships and other corporate sponsors to get people out there, just because, we want everybody to have a meaningful experience and have to prioritize in some way. Yeah.
Sally,
Was there another question in the room? I'm sorry.
Sally, no. Okay. Any other questions?
Not a question, but just a statement. One, thank you for what you're doing. And as a school district, we would love to be in connection with, in terms of orienting the families, because they would go Tillicum and Dr. Claudia Thomas Middle School and then Clover Park High School. And so we'd love to be able to partner with you just in terms of making sure the families have information. The more information they have, the lower their anxiety is when they're moving in. That's one less thing. We could do tours. We can, whatever we can do to help accommodate a family moving in, we're happy to support.
That would be amazing. I'm also wondering, Ron, if on the outreach side, I know that we've done different flyers and stuff to school district families through Peach Jar and things like that, but I don't know if there's a communication way that we can, we're partner with you to let families know who might be interested in purchasing a home or buyer ready when these houses become more available. Maybe there's also an outreach to target your families who are ready for home ownership but are in rental right now.
Absolutely. We could just work through our marketing and communications department to support. So just reach out to me through my assistant and then we'll get you connected.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And Michelle too, with Pierce College, there's probably students who would be very interested in potentially stepping into this. Yeah.
Yeah. And Clover Park Tech, we're all working on housing together. So.
Absolutely.
So let me piggyback on to what Ron just said. Andy and I have had our heads together now for the last month. And we thought that an idea that we had, we'd like to share with our Promise Board. We'd like our Promise Board to be one of the sponsors of one of the houses. And we would like to sponsor that house in honor of Claudia Thomas. And we have a core group of people that we have pulled together to help navigate the waters for making this happen. And we know that we need to raise $100,000 for this house to begin with. So far, Andy and I have pledges of $30,000. And we would just need to have the okay from our Promise Board to go ahead and be a formal sponsor of this first house. Then from people, which includes Sally Saunders, Mary Green, Natalie Humphrey, Andy, and myself. And we will work with Sharana and the people from Habitat for Humanity to share the information and to pull us together with the help of Ron and all the other people on our campus board. So what I need from our campus board is ideas or thoughts about being sponsored in this first house.
Andy, Ellie, it's really hard to hear what you have to say. We can't hear you. So what I would say is that Lakewood's Promise is a city board. And so there's a lot of individuals on here. So we certainly can provide more information to the individuals there. The city is already a great partner with, I think, Habitat for Humanity. So we can share the information that you are providing, Ellie, because again, I'm assuming if nobody here can really hear those details that you said. I know that you said that you guys have personally provided some support. So we can share that with board members. They can, as individuals, participate. But it is a city board, so you know.
Yes, and in that light, Andy and I know that we need to present this idea to the city council as well.
Yeah, so why don't we have a conversation offline about that, about how that would work? And because again, the city is already a great financial sponsor in this program, and how the board or individuals might honor Claudia in a different way. So let's talk side note on how that would work with working with the city on that.
Yeah, that'd be great, Mary.
You got a couple hands raised. I think Andy and Sally. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Sally.
Am I on?
Sally? Sally's got to unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I just had a question because I know that there were a lot of groups involved in the last one we did out at Tillicum, which was, gee, I can't remember, you know, early part of 19, you know, the 20th. Anyway, and I know that there were all different groups within Lakewood that participated. I don't remember, again, did we also give monies at that time, or is this something newer that is now being done?
So house sponsorships have been a thing that we've kind of had on and off, but not on a regular basis. So before, it was likely probably volunteer groups coming out, which we still do and we need on a regular basis. But with the cost of construction rising, the cost to build has increased. And the city of Lakewood is an amazing partner. They actually have invested quite a bit of money and helped us leverage some money from the state and from the county for this project, for the infrastructure, both on-site and off-site. Like I said, the sewer stuff that we're having done is all paid for by the city pretty much. So we're very blessed and have a great partnership there. But there is still this subsidy gap between the cost to actually build that end home of what, you know, what the homeowner brings to the table, what the city's providing, and then just to get us to that last bit. So the house sponsorship giving level is a newer thing over the last 3 to 5 years.
So you would also need not only the sweatability, but the financial assistance too.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before we go back to our individual groups and bring things up about, you know, what it is that, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I know everything's more expensive now than it was before. And lumber and all kinds of stuff.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Andy has her hand up.
Am I on?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I want to assure you, we've gone through a lot of hoops on this. One of the first things I did was talk to the family, to David Boyd, who had this is what they call Uncle David Boyd, not Lisa's husband, who was interested in having an honorary activity for Claudia related to the park or to the plaza across from the Lakewood Motor Inn. So I've discussed it with the family. I've discussed it with Dave Boyd. They're enthusiastically on board. I also went immediately to John Caulfield because, you know, if the city's going to be involved, I felt we should go to him. So he said he wanted us to make a presentation to the city council. So I think we've covered that step, not in terms of any part of income participation, financial participation, but in terms of making sure that everybody's on the same page. And I can assure you that everybody is. I have probably spoken to 20 people about this. I've not had a single person be anything but thrilled about the idea of honoring Claudia through this. Rather than have something with her name on it, like a park, this is actually a project that will address some of the housing issues for at least one family in Lakewood, one Lakewood school family, one Lakewood community member. And I think that the precedent there would be really nice for Claudia's particular devotion to building unity in the community, bringing it together, serving families. So I think we have those kinds of things covered. We have some major gifts, some of which have come from people in this room, some of which have come from outside. They're all Lakewood people, but I've asked people for, say, $1,500 and got $10,000. I've asked people for $1,500 and gotten $7,500. And the few I've asked for $10,000 and one I've gotten that too. So this is a project that has tremendous enthusiasm in the community. We've tried to jump through all the hoops that I could think of. And I have every reason to think that this will be an enormously successful project, both in terms of honoring Claudia, but also addressing an issue with the family in Lakewood that needs to be housed. So it just seems to me a very positive thing. And it was proposed that a plaque, I guess we haven't mentioned this at the city yet, so I probably shouldn't spill the beans, but instead of trying to honor, to put signage on the property, that we would try to put a sign at City Hall to honor Claudia through this project. So in terms of the sweat equity, people have lots of interest, as you've already said, in terms of participating as volunteer. That's not sweat equity, that would be the family. But volunteers are very interested in being involved. So I don't think we'll have any problem with that either. I apologize for my voice. Sometimes it just leaves me, and that's the best I can do right now. If you have any questions.
Any other comments? Okay, Mary and I will get our heads together here and see what other hoops we need to jump through and come back to Tom's board with further information.
I just want to say, I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate the work that has gone into this already to make sure that things are in order, and to even have a corpus of funding already to begin this. And I think doing it in honor of Dr. Claudia Thomas is such a wonderful idea and will go over very well within our community. And I'm just really excited about it.
No, I'm very excited because it's a vehicle that we can use to bring the community together.
Yeah.
And it gives Thomas some PR, yeah, which is important. Anything else in regard to Habitat for Humanity and this particular project? Okay, then we'll come back with you with us with information, and we'll see where we go from here.
Thank you, Sharana.
Thank you, Sharana. Thank you for having me, everyone. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll be in. Look forward to working with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Our next item. You're probably going to want to sit right down here. Too. Sorry about that.
Bye.
Joyce, your voice is coming through, I think, pretty loud and clear. So I'm not sure if you're sitting closer to a microphone, but your voice is coming through loud and clear. So just FYI.
You have a louder tone.
Okay, we're moving on to the next item on our agenda.
I think it's just this.
It's
the microphone.
It's, yeah.
So maybe do you want to even just sit? You can be front and center.
Yeah.
So that you can hear you. I think it's better than to see the view of us.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll look up there.
Here we go.
Yeah, and you can face that. We can see you up there. Just there you go.
All right. How is the volume now? Much better? All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we have our youth council representative. I think it's Hank, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Not here. No.
Okay, yes.
Spring break.
Yeah, Hank's on spring break.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there will we have a report on the summit?
I can report out on the summit. You want to do that now?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that now.
Okay. Well, the summit planning is going really well. I have got, I'd say, about a list of 20 to 22 vendors that are going to hit all three areas, all areas of emphasis that the summit will be about, the workforce development, youth mental health, and financial literacy. All vendors know that whether they have a table or they are going to be leading a breakout, that anything they do has to be interactive and interesting and leave the students with something more than a pamphlet, but really knowledge they can take with them for the rest of their lives. I have confirmed 2 keynote speakers. We have Christian Page. Both of these keynote speakers were recommended by our youth council. Thank you, Ron. Hey, Ron, if you've got sight on Christian, I've not been able
to get a hold of him these last few days to get him a contract and to just confirm. I mean, he's confirmed before. If you have any contact with him, please reach out. But he said he would be happy to be one of our keynote speakers, as well as lead a breakout session in a spoken word. And also Ryan Ninnis, who is a beloved teacher, mentor, coach in the community, was also recommended by our youth council members, and he is beyond enthused to be part of this event. We have an incredible MC who was recommended by our friend Grant Twyman. Nate, and I am forgetting Nate's last name, but Nate was a local Lakewood High School kid. You know, Ron? Yeah.
Nate Burdine.
Nate Burdine.
Yeah.
He is signed on as our MC, and what's great about Nate is a youth pastor now, so he's going to reach out to his other youth pastors for volunteers. I had an incredible meeting with Twin Star yesterday. They are also putting out some notes to a couple of their employees who are self-proclaimed ballers to be come on board and be a volunteer as well. They are also donating 3 $100 gift cards for our raffle, in addition to a 6-month membership at French Fitness. That will be our raffle. I'm going to get a couple smaller ones, but we'll have a raffle throughout the day. Let's see, a game truck is going to be there. That was another recommendation from our youth council. I'm going to have lunch, sandwiches, vegetarian options, and stuff like that. We have plenty of snacks. Let's see, I'm going to start my vendor kind of logistical training, if you will, here within the next couple of weeks, so we're all on the same page. I've gotten permission from the school that we can enter Friday night if need be, so I'm going to let the vendors choose if they want to come in and set up Friday night, so we're not in a mad rush on Saturday morning, but we do have the place from 8 a.m. Saturday morning in case everybody wants to set up and be ready by 11 a.m. I'm going to go do a walkthrough with the young lady at the school, who I've been working with, and forgive me, her name is escaping me, so we can just check out the layout, logistics. We'll have assigned classrooms for all the breakout rooms. We will give the kids a passport so they can get stamps at all the places that they visit, and then those will go in and they can win one of our prizes. Transportation, Youth for Christ has come to the table and said they will donate their cargo van that they will drive. We're just going to work together on a route. And then we have some bus passes that are coming to the table. We have issued flyers I have flyers in both Lakes and Clover Park. And I'm still waiting back to hear from Harrison Prep. I reached out to their team of people and they've not gotten back to me yet. So I've sent Hank Jones in there to figure out what's going on. And because I've also got an appointment at the Lakes High School to go in after they all come back. So I can sit there at lunchtime with A-frames, my table, my personality, and try and drum up some business. I'm going to try and get into the other schools as well. Gosh, I think Elise said she'd be happy to go and do a couple of lunches with me or without me. My goodness, Mary, what am I forgetting in all our conversations?
No, Shannon has put a great team, and I know many of you have helped her. Just probably the date and the location.
Yes, Saturday, May 21st, 11 to 4. Harrison Prep is allowing us both schools, so we can play volleyball in one area, in one court, and basketball in the other, which was another thing that the students wanted us to involve. I have yoga instructors coming in. I'm hoping to get this local artist who's a drummer. Brandon hit me up at the film festival and said, what are we doing as far as music therapy? So I have some information on a artist who's out of Tacoma who works with youth through music therapy. He's a drummer. So I thought what I would do if he doesn't have, the stuff to lead a 30, I'm going to go to Home Depot and get some of those buckets, and they can bang on buckets with whatever. We'll we'll make it happen. But that's an important part. So I'm hoping, I'm looking at confirmation from him. I mean, it's a
big project.
Yeah, city council wants to be involved. So Mary and I are gonna work with reaching out to them to see about volunteering, maybe at the desk. I'm asking you all to volunteer. Carrie, Carrie, I need to get with you, CIS. Yep. Support. I'm sorry for my late notice. I'm very siloed in my planning right now. I'm trying to get, Mary keeps reminding me, you have partners. So that's where we are now with it. Ron, I was going to see if your son wanted to get involved and come and pump them up as a professional, as a local kid professional player. I don't know. I just learned of this yesterday from Twin Star.
Well, he probably won't be in town, and he just got released from the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 weeks ago. So he's in training to try to get signed on to another team. So I think his mind might be elsewhere.
I got you. I did reach out to the Truant organization.
Trufant, yeah.
Organization. I sent him an email yesterday saying if they wanted to get involved somehow. Again, I sat down with Twin Star yesterday, and LaMarco gave me all of this information. So following up. That's my update.
Now you have me on your list of volunteers.
Of course. Yes. Well, I know you're going to be there. I want to put you in signing.
I know the last time the young people were at the sign-in too. And so I think it's great for us to be there, but not to take a position if they want it. Okay. So just
oh yes, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Good report. Thanks a lot for all your work. Okay.
Shannon, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you were talking about drumming too, is that, we're really working with the Nisqually tribe right now and developing our relationship with them, and Hanford and his kids and members of the tribe have come out and done as well. So that might be something to be featured even at the beginning. They are on this land for 10,000 years. And so it might be a nice acknowledgement at the beginning of our event and sort of a way of kicking things off. So we can talk about that as well.
Mary, that is a powerful thought. I love that concept as the opening act, so to speak, but in the midst of a land acknowledgement to open, that would be so powerful.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well, let's go around the table, starting with Michelle Johnson and what's going on at Pierce College these days.
Well, thanks, Ellie. We started the quarter on Monday, and we're in a mask encouraged environment, not a mask required. So that's interesting. I just got home actually late last night from LA. We've been very fortunate at Pierce College to be selected by the Achieving the Dream and the Center for Racial Equity at USC. We've been at USC. We're one of 10 colleges looking specifically at Racial Equity Leadership Academy. And we've made a strong commitment to having serving Black and Brown excellence of our students. Stop thinking about a deficit model and think about major faculty hiring going on with 6 that are laying out individuals to work with our Black and Brown students so that we can make sure that excellence is notified, is front and center. And I do want to say, speaking of Claudia Thomas, I think the project's fantastic. Thank you for the call, Andy. I've committed. I think it's a really important project for us. And as part of Pierce College going, Lisa Boyd is now going to be the new trustee starting next week at Pierce College. And so she'll be on our board of trustees. So I'm very excited. I know she's retiring in June. So Ron, we're trying to stay out of her way for a couple of months, but she'll be on, and it's just great to have her join our board of trustees. The governor made the appointment last month. So that's Pierce College. Thank you.
Joyce, would you like to share about yours?
Sure. So at Clover Park, we also began this past Monday with our spring quarter, and we also are a mask optional but encouraged college at this point. This month, we also will be experiencing our Go Live to CTC Link, which is basically a project that has lasted over 10 years to move all of the community and technical colleges from an old legacy system of data system and a place where we kept our finance records, our payroll records, our student records, and moving it to PeopleSoft. And I know Pierce College made the transition 2 years ago at the beginning of COVID, and we are making it this month. And we are among the last 6 colleges to go live. So it's a lot of work, a lot of focus of our institution on that. And it's kind of all hands on deck to do that at this point. So the other thing I want to announce is the Living Access Support Alliance, LASA, and I did send an email out to folks about this, but I just want to remind everybody that the LASA breakfast is April 27th at 7:30 in the morning at Clover Park. Basically, if you'd like to go to that, we would love to have you go. I'd love to have you sit at my table if you haven't already told me. I know some of you have, and I appreciate that. There's a lot happening at LASA because of their mission of preventing homelessness and recurring homelessness. And the just changes both in plans and in leadership that will be coming up in the next several months. So I'd love to have you come and learn a little bit more about it. That's it.
Thank you, Joyce. Ron, you're up next. What's going on at the park?
So we are also mask optional. We see some kiddos that are continuing to wear and quite a few that are not. And so we are honoring that, and we're actually putting lessons into play to respect everyone's personal decision. And so that's a big piece of our advisories and classroom circles in elementary right now. April is the month of the military child. And so we will be purpling up on April 15th. We want to always honor our military kiddos and respect their families and the fact that they put themselves in harm's way for our basic freedoms, right? We did have some issues with disinformation around our recently adopted discipline policy. I want to have everybody rest assured that we do not discipline white kids more harshly because we take cultural responsiveness into consideration when we are applying discipline. These are state RCWs that have been developed by, and then model policies developed by WASDA, fully vetted by the WASDA legal team. And so unfortunately, the national conversation used that as an opportunity to grab on to some propagandized statements. And we actually got quite a few phone calls from not in our state and from in our state that were quite vulgar in nature and language. And so it's just important to make sure that folks know that we're not going to engage in the national argument. We're going to continue to focus on the students in Lakewood and the families in Lakewood. And if there is any information that anybody needs clarity on, feel free to have them call me or any of my surrogates here at the school district, and we will give them the factual information about our discipline policy. We did have 6 students win Act 6 scholarships, 6 of Clover Park School District, 4 from Clover Park High School and 2 from Harrison Prep. And that's out of 29 students in the Puget Sound region. So 20% of the South Sound region scholarships came to Clover Park School District. We're really proud of that. And if you don't know, the Act 6 scholarship is a big deal. I mean, kids just get full tuition. They go to PLU, some go to Harvard, so that's a pretty big deal for our kiddos. And I think it's a great reflection of the hard work that our staff does. We will have a virtual STEAM fair that was held on March 30th. We stayed with virtual as things were piping down because we planned virtual, and you just don't turn on a dime, and it just doesn't turn out well if you try to stop and do something different in the midst of it. We had 91.5% of our students and families attending spring conferences. That's also a big deal for us because we know then that parents or the adults in a student's life are active in their education. Kindergarten registration opens up here very soon, if not already. We will have a years of service celebration on April 11th at our board meeting for our 30 and 35 year, but we celebrate from every in increments of 5 years. So if you reach 5, 10, 15, etc., we do a celebration of years of service. And then at our board meeting for our 30-year and our 35-year employees, we will celebrate them at that meeting. Just want to go back to a statement that Michelle talked about earlier in terms of equity and inclusion in leadership, and taking a positive and growth mindset approach. I just so appreciate that. I was looking at data last week, and I looked at the new hires and promotions within our administrative leadership team since I became the superintendent. And 50% of those new hires and promotions were persons of color. And I've stopped saying qualified persons of color, because we don't say when we hire a Caucasian that's a qualified Caucasian. When we say qualified in front of that, it is almost a deficit mindset, as if we have to explain that hiring this person of color, they're qualified, right? So we started to shift our language as well. And the other thing that I'm really proud about is that 66% of those hires since I became superintendent have been women. We don't recognize enough that women in leadership has also been an ongoing struggle in this nation. And, you know, in education, at least in our system, it's not a pay differential because each position gets paid a certain amount of money, as it is across the country, right? In private sector. But it's so important that we bring women into leadership roles, so that our young ladies, as they're maturing through our system, can see, again, a reflection that they can do this, right? So 66% women, and that's also a focus of mine to ensure that we are inclusive in leadership. And when the leadership is inclusive in nature, we can bet that the rest of our hires are going to, again, be people of color, women, because our job is to reach and bring, right? Pay it forward, so to speak, pull people with you, whatever the phrase is. And so we're pretty proud of that here at Clover Park School District. Thank you guys for letting me take too much of the stage.
Well, thank you, Ron, for that information. We appreciate every bit of it, really, especially the good parts. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Elise, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I sure am. Thank you. I have some big news. I think I know everybody here, but my name is Elise. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a librarian with the Lakewood Pierce County Library. And we just, our board just hired our new executive director. Her name is Gretchen Kazarati. She's coming from Idaho. And we're beginning the transition now. Georgia Lomax's last day will be the auspicious May the 4th for Star Wars fans. I do believe she chose that date specifically. And Gretchen will be joining us as our executive director in mid-May. So we're just anticipating that anything can happen with that change, and looking forward to the leadership that she will bring. I was not able to attend her public forum, so I'm pretty excited for her to be on board and to learn more about what direction and vision she has for our library system. So that's big news in our world. But we have even bigger news for our Lakewood Library. You may or may not know that the beloved building has been having some issues, actually for many years. Yeah, so I mean, I think even in like 2009, 2010, we began work with the city to consider a new building or to consider what's next for the Lakewood Library building. And then the recession hit. We started that work up again in 2018, 2019, and then pandemic hit. So now it's 2022 and our building needs a new roof. It needs to, it's so sad. The roof cannot be repaired. It needs to be fully demolished and replaced. So our leadership is trying to figure out what is next for our Lakewood Library, our Tensler Library. Very old, very beloved, very architecturally interesting, and large in our city. So some things that are on the table, is finding, and this is, I think this might be a little bit early for me to be sharing, but not too early. Our deputy director is bringing this to the board this afternoon. So, but yeah, so some things that are on the table, we won't be able to repair the roof. So on the one hand, we might be kind of temporarily pausing library services in the city of Lakewood. We might be looking for a temporary location, which will be a smaller location while we either completely renovate the existing building or look for a site and begin construction on a brand new building. But either way, our building has to be brought back to life. So library services are going to be changing in the city of Lakewood, and it's exciting to think about the possibility of a new library, but it's also very, very bittersweet because we love the library that we have. And so one thing that we can maybe use from you all, and certainly all of these decisions are obviously above my pay grade. Our leadership will be reaching out to all sorts of different folks in the city of Lakewood. But one thing from Lakewood's promise that we can use is just helping us to get the word out about the state of the library, about the fact that the roof needs to be completely replaced and the building will be exposed when that happens. Because I think, the Tensler Library is beloved, and I think people are going to have a hard time letting it go in whatever shape, form comes next. But the building really is just not financially feasible, and the roof cannot be repaired. It has to be replaced. So just helping us get the word out about kind of the structural challenges that building has. We are going to put in, we want to be fiscally responsible with our taxpayers' dollars to be able to provide library services and sustainable library services to our community. So we have to get creative about what that's going to look like in the short term, but in the long term, we're excited to bring, something new to our residents. So it's like I could be anywhere within a few months. I don't know the timeline yet. They're working with a structural engineer. We'll hear from them. But it's pretty big news for us.
Let's put the word out, Elise, and let bring ideas to you and more.
I might be on the road. The dream would just be to be walking down the street handing out books left and right. So we'll see. But
I would say definitely the old QFC building. I would be great. Knock that sucker down. It's a great center of town. The old GI Joes across the mall would be awesome. And then of course the Lakewood Community Center is looking for major improvements as well. They're probably built in the same era, and the roof and the HVAC and everything's leaking. We're trying to get our senior center back up and going, but it's a big old building too that they're looking at doing modifications to. I don't know if it would work so great for the library because of the condition it's in, but now the city's working with the library as well. They've got an interlocal agreement to help find a location because we'd like to see some kind of a community center, community activity area to be included in whatever gets created, so that it's used to provide that support for the community. So you can come hang out in my office if you need to.
Well, it is a beloved building. We all love being there. It's like home when we go there. So it's, Lot to be thinking about. Mary, why don't you just continue on with Parks and Rec?
We've got a pretty ambitious summer program up and going. We've got a great day camp program. We've received a lot of grant money, so we're going to be doing special events for families that are low to no cost. We've got, I think, 10 or 12 scheduled this summer, from orienteering to the fishing event to learning about non-motorized water sports. We're doing stuff in a soccer program in Springbrook. So we're kind of taking it out to Tillicum and Springbrook, as well as doing stuff at Port Silicum. We're excited about the work with the Youth Summit. That's going to be a great event. And it's going to lead right into our first Colonial Plaza, Motor Avenue Street Festival. We're going to do a dance party. So it will be just like a big old dance party on the 21st that night. We've got some jazz car show, jazz night. We're going to do 2 that are very culturally relevant, with just celebrating the different cultures in our community. So lots happening. The Connections magazine will be out the 1st of June, and you'll see a big hopefully schedule in there of all the fun stuff that we're doing. So we got lots going on. Let's see. Oh, Springbrook Connections. I don't know if you're familiar, but that's an area that's really an engaged neighborhood, very isolated economically, socially, and geographically. So as you head towards the McCord Gate of JBLM, and they are going to be leasing space at Center Force. And so that's to have a nice place for them to run their operations. They do a lot for the community. And so we're excited to see them still getting support and being able to support those neighbors. So lots happening.
Always, lots happening, always. Thanks to you, Mary. Jerry, you want to give us an update on CIS?
Yeah, first I just want to say thank you to the Lakewood community for helping make the Champions Free with Breakfast a huge celebration, a success. We exceeded our fundraising goal, and honestly, the best part about it, I think, is just bringing the community together to show their support for kids and our educators and CIS's work, and it was just fun. Our team had fun. Kids were excited. We got to get out 3 scholarships. So thank you to Photograph Technical College and Pierce College and community members who gave funding for privately funded scholarships. So thank you. 2 things I want to highlight about our work. You know, we're working one-on-one with kids. We're in schools. We're working with young people to address the barriers for their academic success. And when we see barriers come up, you know, over and over again, we try to work with community partners, leverage those community partners to address the barriers, not just on individual kid kind of level, but in a broader level. And I know last month when we met, I mentioned that our Warriors of Change students at Clover Park High School had been talking about the issue of transportation as a barrier. And so CIS did work with those students to complete a revised transportation survey for Clover Park students and submit a request, a proposal to the City Council to purchase bus passes for kids in Clover Park High School that would need it. So we're excited about that, you know, elevating our student voices and really their leadership in the request. So that's one exciting piece. And then the other thing kind of ties into our Habitat for Humanity conversation is just housing is a struggle for families right now. Housing and really stability for students and families. And so we started some conversations or continued conversations with Shared Housing, which is now a part of Associated Ministries, with REACH and the ACT program to strengthen our partnerships. So that way when kids need a safe place to be, we can get them connected to safe places. And, you know, even my week leading into spring break was trying to make sure that young people that were on our caseload that didn't have a safe place to be had housing. So you can imagine young people heading into spring break are already stressed out, right? There's worries that come with not being able to be in their safe places, and additional stresses that come without stable housing. It's hard to be a successful student or a successful community member if you don't have that. And so I look forward and I'm excited that we're participating in this conversation about housing as a Lakewood sport.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Mary Moss, are you? Mary's not on today. Oh, we'll miss your report. We'll catch up with her.
It's Sally.
Well, Sally is a guest this morning.
sorry.
Sally Saunders.
Okay.
Yes. She's part of our core group for Habitat. Yes. Any comments, Sally? Sally.
There we go. Okay, sorry. I'm not technically advanced as some may be. You might call me challenged. Anyway, no, I was just here to listen and to learn more about what's going on. And I am involved with a number of different groups like the Lions and Partners for Parks and a few other things that might bring some people in and also might get some of these groups to contribute towards the monies that are needed for this. So.
Sounds good, Sally.
Okay.
Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Hey, Ellie, this is Michelle. Can I add one other thing? And Joyce can tag on to this. The legislature gave the community and technical colleges $80,000 per college to address housing insecurity. Wow. And she and I and the president at Tacoma Community College, and we're going to talk to Bates, we're talking about how to put our, that I take that back. $80,000 is for all of us to work with community-based organizations to do the FAFSA, the financial aid, so that we can get more individuals aware of the ability to use financial aid. We have the Washington College grant that's really free tuition for families. And so we're going to talk about joining together to do that across Pierce County. And we don't know yet the housing amount money, but each of us are going to have some dollars to address housing. And we also had a very brief conversation about how to do that together. Yes. And maybe to even leverage, the new county housing, 9 million that's going into this office. And I know, Shannon, you shared some things with us on a previous promise meeting. I thought that was great. So when we get more information, we're really trying to talk about how to leverage, because we all need to do this together. And if we can make the dollars go further, that seems so much better than isolating it with each one of us. So we'll keep you posted as we learn more about the restrictions on the dollars and how we can use them to support housing and then also supporting financial aid. And so Ron will be working with you too, but all the community-based organizations, we actually have money that we can contract with you all to do some work. So I just wanted to add that. Joyce, you might have, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Thank you for that, Michelle. That was a great bit of information to add. Yes, thank you. All right, who have we missed this morning?
Janet, you want to add on that? I want to add how proud I am to be a Lakewood citizen. This is an impressive group of people doing impressive stuff.
Thank you for that.
And I'm glad to see the Friends of the Library active again. Looks like we can add to their cause.
Yes, most definitely. Okay, I don't see anybody else on my list right now. I don't have
One more thing.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing.
So getting back to that prior presentation I gave to you all about our mortgage and rental assistance. Well, bittersweet, we've spent our money. We are no longer taking applications. We had to close it down March 28th. So,
because it was so successful.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I'm referring people over to the county's program because they have money. They closed down their portal for a long time to get caught up. They reopened the portal, so I'm referring people over to the county's rental assistance program.
Are there any other comments, questions, additions this morning? If not, we will adjourn our meeting until next month. And in the meantime, Andy and I and our core group will be getting together with our city council and Mary Dodsworth and work out some details in addition to what we've already been doing. So have a good one, everybody.
I have one more thing. April 29th, cops versus teachers at Lakes High School. It's a fully charitable event, and I am going to be on the floor shooting some hoops. My wife has warned me against it, but I plan to get out there for about 2 minutes and then fake a good injury so that I can sit on the bench. But it's a great charity event, and so if you can let people know about it, feel free to come out, pay a donation, etc. So thank you.
Sounds like a great event. We'll be there. Okay. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.